Unfortunately, there are some women out there that use sneaky tactics to control and manipulate men. I'm not saying every woman is like that. I'm certainly not saying even the majority of women are like that, but there are women out there who will do that. And so today in this video, I'm going to go over the 9 things that you might see that let you know, if you're a guy, that your woman is manipulating you to control you. So the first of the 9 is mirroring. And sometimes, especially if you're talking about a narcissistic relationship, someone with NPD, they might call that love bombing. Basically, they are mirroring your behaviors. They're learning what makes you tick, and they're copying your behavior so that you appear to them to be the perfect person for you. You've never met anybody who checks off all your boxes like they do, and it just seems too good to be true. Guess what? It probably is. The next one is guilt trips. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that my girlfriend and I are sitting down to watch a movie, and I say, oh, I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Maybe it's Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, which actually is one of my all-time favorite movies. And she says, oh yeah, let's watch it. And we watch it, and I say, oh, what did you think? I've just shared this favorite movie of mine with her, and I want to know what she thinks about it. And she says, well, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to watch, but if it makes you happy, that's fine. That's manipulative. That's a guilt trip right there. She could have said, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as you do, but I can see why you love it. That would be a normal response from a healthy woman. But the way that I phrased it initially there is a clear guilt trip. She's trying to make you feel bad that you like this movie and bad that you forced her to watch it. And that's not a healthy situation, and that's not a healthy woman. The next one is the silent treatment. And we've probably all experienced this at some point, where she just ends the conversation. She shuts you out. She stops talking. She doesn't give you any additional information. Now, guys, of course, can do this too. It's not exclusive to women by any means. And I'm not talking about taking a break in the middle of a heated argument. That's different too, because typically in that scenario, you say, hey, I need a minute to step away and kind of collect my thoughts so that I'm not getting angrier and then responding inappropriately. And then you kind of take a break and you agree to reconvene and start the conversation back up in a healthier manner. That's totally different. That's not what I'm talking about here. The silent treatment is when we're having a discussion or maybe even an argument and you just immediately shut down, walk away, end the conversation with no words whatsoever. Could also be happening over text as well, where basically she just ghosts you in the middle of a conversation. But that is a clear manipulation tactic, and I consider it to be emotionally abusive, especially if it's happening on any regular basis. You know the old Katy Perry song, "You're hot and you're cold." Hot and cold treatment is definitely a manipulation and control tactic that women sometimes use, where all of a sudden they're super into you, they're super available, constantly blowing up your phone, and then they're just kind of pulling back. They're withdrawing for no apparent reason, and you're just kind of left second guessing yourself. Well, did I do something wrong? What's wrong? And then it kind of lowers your confidence in your self-esteem because you have no idea what has prompted this change. It might also trigger in your mind, well, has she met somebody new? And you get those kind of insecure feelings as well. And anxiety ends up kind of taking over. And that's not a healthy place for you to be. And it's not a sign of a healthy woman if she's treating you that way for no reason. Now, I will say it is possible that you did something to hurt her feelings and she's just not talking to you about it. That's different. And in that case, if you think there's any possibility of that, you've got to open her back up again. You got to get her talking, hey, babe, it seems like, you've gotten a little bit distant. And I feel like maybe I must have done something to hurt your feelings. Can you please tell me what it is so I can take ownership of it? And just keep going like that. Don't bully her into talking to you, but unless she's emotionally unavailable, she will eventually open up if you keep kind of gently pressing the issue. And then just let her go, let her talk. Repeat back a few things that you're hearing her say so that she feels heard and understood. The next one is excuses to avoid romantic intimacy. Not going to use the S word because some channels get demonetized for that. But she's avoiding romantic intimacy, and it seems like she's doing it to punish you for something that you did wrong. Maybe you said something, maybe you did something, maybe you didn't do something. And instead of talking to you about it in a healthy way and saying, hey, when you didn't take out the trash after I asked you twice, it really made me feel like you don't care about my priorities and what's important to me. And I had to do it, and I had 5 other things on my to-do list, and it would have been one simple thing that you could have done, and you were just watching TV. I get it. That would irritate me too if I were in her shoes, but the way to handle it is to approach it head on in a healthy conversation, not to punish the guy by holding out on, you know what, gaslighting. And we've all heard the term gaslighting. It's kind of been a big buzzword the last couple of years. Essentially, gaslighting is when I make you, if I'm doing the gaslighting, I make you question your own sense of reality. Maybe you say something, I say, oh, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. You're remembering that wrong, even though I know that you're remembering it correctly. But I want you to question your own sanity, essentially. I want you to question whether or not you can remember things correctly. And I make you feel bad for not remembering them correctly, even though you are remembering them correctly. It's a total manipulation tactic, often used by narcissists, but it doesn't exclusively have to be used by a narcissist. But ultimately, it lowers your self-confidence and your self-esteem because you're constantly questioning reality, essentially. Being critical of your family and your friends. Ultimately, this one is designed to isolate you. She wants you all to herself so that you'll be easier to control and manipulate. And if she gets your family and your friends more or less out of the way, it's a lot easier to do that because they're not going to be in your ear going, what the heck's up with this girl? So she may be critical of them. She may not want to spend time with them, and she may make you feel guilty if you spend time with them without her. So be on the lookout because those are serious red flags. Jealousy. When it's unwarranted. She may question your loyalty. She may see that you liked some girl's photo on Instagram and just fly off the handle. Or maybe you went out with your buddies the other night and she's furious that you went out without her. And she accuses you, well, why were you going out? You know, were you trying to meet other girls and things like that? And basically it's a manipulation tactic to get you to not do anything without her permission. And then she blames you for her own feelings of insecurity. Well, if you loved me, you wouldn't do things like that. And you're making me feel insecure by doing things like that, by treating me that way, as if you've actually done something wrong, which of course in this scenario you haven't. Making you responsible for her feelings. And this may initially start off in a positive way. She may say things like, oh, you make me feel so good. I feel so amazing when I'm around you, giving you credit for how she's feeling in a positive way. But then later it'll switch. And if she's sad, it's because you didn't cheer her up. Or if she's angry, it's because of something that you did. Essentially making you responsible for her entire emotional regulation. And that's not fair to ever put on somebody else. Yes, people can do things that make us mad, but we are in control of how we feel and how we respond to things. Now, some of what I've described here does indeed describe a narcissist. And if you're not sure if you're dating a narcissist, I want you to check out this video on my channel right up here where I walk you through exactly how to know if you're dating a narcissist.